I'd like to call the March 14th Board of Education meeting to order. Stanley T. Williams at 7 o'clock. Roll call.
Chairman Papaholzer.
Here. Sorry.
Vice Chair Anafrio.
Here.
Secretary Sienna. Here. Janet Balsamo.
Here.
Carolyn Candelora.
Here.
Vincent Mace.
Here.
Cynthia Rice. Here.
Salute the flag. Right on the corner. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
visitors' comments. Student representatives.
Mrs. Nicole LaCroix and several NBHS students participated in Read Across America Day on Friday, February 28th at Jerome Harrison. Students read to and with students. This was a great experience for all the students involved on this Literary Awareness Day. Additionally, NBH seniors are scheduled to present their capstone projects on March 20th, some scheduled for April 10th, with faculty providing feedback and using a rubric to score each presentation. Students were required to complete a series of steps prior, including submitting a proposal, journal entries, and a reflective paper. This portion of the project was the culminating event for this important experience, focusing on career exploration.
Okay, great. And the annual spring musical, Curtains, is scheduled for April 4th, 5th, and 6th. Tickets will be on sale at the box office during afternoons throughout various dates during March. Along with that, the NBHS hockey team moved on to the CIAC state champion with an away game against South Windsor. And also, spring sports begin on March 16th, and those sports include outdoor track, softball, baseball, ultimate frisbee, golf, tennis, and boys and girls lacrosse.
Thank you.
Very nice, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 21st, 2019 Board of Education meeting as submitted.
A second, discussion?
Yeah, do a discussion. I have to make a correction again to the January meeting. Madam Chairperson, what happened between last month and this month is I received a call from a Branford resident telling me I voted the wrong way on a particular vote. And I said, no, I corrected that at the February meeting. And the caller said, no, but you corrected it wrong. You missed something. Then the caller said to me, didn't you watch the video on TV? And I said to the caller, well, let me explain to you. No, because
Because I was there.
I can remember over the years, these talk show hosts where the celebrities would come on and they would say, show a film clip, and they say, didn't you see it? And the celebrity would say, I don't watch myself on it. And I said to the caller, I said, I see myself in the mirror with my receding hairline and my thinning hair. I don't have to see it on TV while everybody else is watching too. And this caller said, well, let me play it back for you. And the caller rewound the tape. And clearly, when it came to Mr. Chody, although the minutes in January would say no, I voted yes. So it was clear on the video. So I voted no on the staff and personnel. I voted yes on Mr. Chody, and I voted no on the superintendent. And it came clear when the caller played all of those for me. So if we can correct the minutes of the January meeting to reflect that I voted yes for Mr. Chody.
Are you okay with that, Mary?
Yeah, and I'll go back and listen again.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Could we clarify, Mr. Mace, are you calling yourself a celebrity or?
No,
Okay.
I'm calling that I don't like to watch myself on TV, that's all.
Okay.
Okay, so for the February minutes, do we have any discussion? Okay. Let's take a vote, Mary, roll call.
Chairman Papaholzer.
Abstain?
Vice Chair Anafrio.
Yes.
Secretary Sienna.
Yes.
Janet Balsamo.
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora.
Yes.
Vincent Mace.
Yes,
Cynthia Rice.
Yes.
Moving on to personnel.
The superintendent has received a resignation from Mrs. Patricia Pagano, Secretary 1 at Central Office. This resignation requires no action by the board, just for informational purposes. And then the superintendent has received a retirement resignation from Mrs. Pamela Kohler, Secretary 2 at Jerome Harrison Elementary School, effective June 28, 2019, after 32 years of dedicated service.
The reason I'm asking for a motion on that one is because she's a member of the defined benefit pension plan.
Gotcha.
So that has to go to the town
Town.
pension committee, so I just don't want any, I'm not sure you have to accept it, but it certainly can't hurt.
Can't hurt, okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve the retirement resignation of Mrs. Pamela Kohler, Secretary 2 at Jerome Harrison Elementary School, effective June 28, 2019, with grateful appreciation.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda for the discussion of a confidential attorney-client communication concerning a central office employee's contract to be added to tonight's agenda.
I second.
Second.
Take a roll call vote.
Chairman Papaholzer?
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio?
Yes.
Secretary Sienna?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Jana Balsamo?
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora?
Yes.
Vincent Mace?
Yes.
Cynthia Rice?
Yes. Then I'd also like to make a motion that the discussion of the confidential attorney-client communication concerning a central office employee's contract take place in executive session.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Sorry, Mary.
Chairman Papaholzer?
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio?
Yes.
Secretary Sienna?
Yes.
Jana Balsamo?
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora?
Yes.
Vincent Mace?
Yes.
Cynthia Rice?
Yes.
Make a motion for that.
Before we move on, I just want to, are you finished with,
We have to do the motion for the coaching.
are you doing it at this time, or are you going to wait until appointments? Before we get off of personnel, I just want to, I want to do a very brief public thank you to Patty Pagano and obviously Pam Kohler. Pam authored a beautiful retirement letter after 32 years in the district. If you were not aware, she was the founding secretary, the founding librarian at Jerome Harrison, and then moved into the role in the front office as a secretary after 32 years. And she cherished every moment of her 32 years, and I want to acknowledge and thank her for her dedication and commitment to our children over those 32 years. Patty Pagano has accepted a full-time position with ESPN. It's a great opportunity and really aligns with her background, and she was with us 3 years, and I want to wish her nothing but the best as well. Thank you.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion. Well, do you have a list for us of this, or do you have it in here? This time it was in here. Okay. To approve the spring coaching recommendations from North Branford High School and North Branford Intermediate School administration as submitted.
Second. Any discussion?
Just an amendment, as submitted by Exhibit B and C, correct?
D.
Wait, which one?
D.
D.
D as in dog.
What do you see?
C and D. C and D, not B and D. It's C and D.
All right, C and D. Okay, so as long as we got the right, yeah, C and D.
C and D.
Okay. You accept that?
Yes.
Yes, C is the intermediate school and D is high school. Somebody second it?
Second.
Cynthia seconded it.
I was gonna say, I thought I did.
Yeah. Can we do a roll call vote just to make it?
Chairman Papaholzer?
Yes.
Vice Chair Anafrio?
Yes.
Secretary Sienna?
Yes.
Jana Balsamo?
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora?
Yes.
Vincent Mace?
Yes.
Cynthia Rice?
Yes.
All right, Scott, take it away.
Okay, as mentioned in the board packet, under communications, the briefs are included. I'm sure you've had an opportunity to read through and see all of the activities that the schools are engaged in. We're certainly pleased as we move into the spring month, how much has been accomplished year to date. That being said, keeping with our charge of having a spotlight each month, I'm certainly very pleased tonight to have members of our Pride program here that are going to present about our 3 to 5 year old opportunity for identified and regular ed students, how we embrace them in our program and get them prepared for their preschool and full day kindergarten experiences. And that being said, Suzanne Wright, our director of Director of Special Education is here. She's going to introduce members of the staff who are going to go through a PowerPoint presentation about their program. So, Suzanne.
Mr. Schoonmaker, I wonder if you might want to go on to one item or two on the agenda. Mr. Williams is on his way, and we're having some trouble getting our presentation displayed on the screen.
That being said, I'm going to segue
Moving on.
items that are on the agenda that were held over from last month. I will open the board up to legal services under letter F, CABE under letter G, and insurance under letter H. I will start with legal services. At the last meeting, we gave a document to you, and it was lengthy, breaking out the 3 different firms that we currently are working with. I think there was a tie between the CABE and the policy. So what I do have, and I do not have copies right here for you, but I do have the 2017-18 fees from Shipman Goodwin, who does our policy. For 17-18, it was $12,604 for legal fees for policy. Okay? Currently, Shipman Goodwin, to date, we are at $9,892. So it's fair to say that we're going to be approximately right around the same, around the $12,000 ballpark. The CABE membership dues, and this was an invoice from last year, for dues are $8,019 per year. And then there's a menu of services, and I don't have the menu, I can send it to you electronically, of all different data searches and things that they provide for you. And there's 2 prices. There's prices for CABE members and prices for non-CABE members, so you can look through. We have access to all of the materials, we just pay a different rate for them. So really you're going to weigh, when you look at this, with the membership fee and then obviously the menu choices, what would it really cost per year versus us working with Shipman. Now with Shipman, we send out our policies, they're customized after the policy committee meets. If we don't like something, we go back and forth, either through teleconferencing, or Don will find out through a direct phone call. We highlight and we do those types of things, which kind of personalizes your relationship regarding policy. So I think that's what you're looking to gather more information on if you were to look at bringing on CABE for policy. Is that accurate? I think. Yes. So let me just continue on then. So if that is what you're interested in doing, what I would do is look at a similar sized district that is involved with CABE and ask them, aside from their membership fees, what are their yearly fees over the last 5 years for being in a relationship with CABE for other services?
That would be great.
And that way, at least you'll know, what we're paying in that $12,000 ballpark area versus the membership fees and then the ancillary parts to the
So I have
menu.
a question. So I have commitment issues. So a membership might be a little too much for me. But you just said that you can get a la carte without the membership, yes?
You can.
So that might be an option for us to look at too, like the differential. Maybe we
Sure.
can get like the legal package without the membership, if that's what we're looking at. So I think the menu of choices is important to
Sure,
get.
to see.
'Cause it-
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question to the policy. Who's on policy besides Beth?
Yeah.
But there's the lone wolf.
Are you not happy with our policy attorney?
Well, the question that was put out by other people on the board was that the amount of money that we do pay to get back and forth with the, for the policy.
And I think some of the changes that get made are just like busy work. You know, you're moving a 7 from here to here, or a different font size here to there. Like some of the policies we review, there's not substantial changes being made, so it's like, why are we reviewing this?
Well, probably because they're statutory changes.
Yeah, but there's some that,
There's some that are, that you
Statutory-
can customize for your district if you so choose, or you just go with the à la carte, generic, CAPE policy. So it really, it comes down to the difference in when you look at all of the other expenses that come along with CAPE, if it's near or close to break even for the two, do you like having the ownership and the input into every policy that we have, the ability to then wordsmith, get legal advice, and change?
Well, the other thing we can do is once we get the pricing, if it's, a close enough price point, we can call CAPE directly and ask them what that pricing consists of, so we can compare apples to apples. Because there's no charge to ask a question to CAPE either.
Right, and I think
And then we know.
and I also think that if you're feeling that this attorney is doing busy work, if you want to give it that name, for instance, well, why don't we say something? You could certainly say something like, why is this policy needing to be changed? I mean,
well, I think one of the things that came out recently was that some of the things that were put in the policy that the attorney came back and they hadn't been approved up in Hartford. So we're putting this information into a policy when it really hasn't been approved.
Okay.
So that was one of the discrepancies. One of the discrepancies.
Okay, I respect
So
that.
let me
Definitely.
get 4 or 5 districts and what their total cost is, so that at least we have a ballpark idea.
Yeah, but also get the menu, 'cause I
Yeah, we
think
have,
that, yeah.
and you can see that.
I can speak to prior. We had a different attorney that did our policies, and she came down or sent a representative down to all the meetings. We were paying a fortune. I know a previous board member, Chris Manna, took credit for changing that. Actually, it was Shannon Queerfeld as well, Sarah's daughter. The two of them switched to this firm to do it, and she calls in, and I know we've saved a ton of money just using her. Like, even what we're paying is a huge savings. Correct me if I'm
You
wrong.
eliminated having someone come here, so that eliminated a huge
Oh, yeah.
cost right there too.
Oh, yeah,
So, I mean,
definitely.
It was a change, it just,
Yeah, no,
it's not a bad thing to look at different avenues.
No, I'm not saying, no, I'm just saying we've already taken steps to
Right.
Yeah.
save money, and if you're not, that's a legitimate reason. So,
Okay. That being said, insurance is listed under H. If there are no questions regarding insurance, I'll move on to letter I under the feasibility.
Are we sure there's no questions regarding insurance?
Are there any
Because I was asked to
questions?
put it on the agenda, so I just want to make sure.
Regarding insurance. Anything with insurance?
Okay.
Don't remember.
Okay. Letter I, the feasibility study. We had passed the feasibility study out. If you do not have it or it's not with you, I'm going to pass it around. This is the draft proposal for the feasibility study. We had amended and added to it 3 options for a renovate as new, a hybrid model with a partial build, partial renovation, or the third being a new high school. So this is the document. This was in concert with Town Hall, with Michelle Knockwood using their template and language based on their research. So if you are comfortable, if you have the opportunity to look through this, we'd like some direction moving forward with how we'd like this to approach this. As you're aware, we had $25,000 that was earmarked. For that, we think that this estimate will probably double that. And then in our capital request, we put that as one of our highest priorities at another $25,000.
Are you looking for a decision tonight?
We're looking for some guidance here.
Read this in a matter of 3 minutes.
I agree.
This was sent out, this might have been in the last packet.
It's not
Yeah.
in my packet.
No.
No, it was the last one.
that was in the last one.
Was it?
I don't
Yeah.
recall it being in last one's either.
I got mine later.
So it was last
Was
month.
it, all right, was it,
It wasn't.
So why don't we do
was
this?
it put
Why
out
don't
in
you
budget? Because
take-
I didn't make budget.
No, it was in the last
No, it
one.
wasn't.
Take some time to read through this. If there's any questions, we'll have it on for vote discussion in April.
If I'm not mistaken, I just want to give the time frame of it. What hopefully we're looking to do is get this out to bid, so we have prices in to make a decision, and then start the project in July when we're hitting the new fiscal year, so hopefully the money in the capital budget covers the second half.
And remember, if it goes out and something sidetracks the project and it's at an expense that we're not able to handle, you don't have to proceed.
We don't have to
with
go
that.
through it, yeah.
We can revisit it and come up with a plan. But this just gives you the opportunity to start the ball rolling. and get
Madam
this out.
Chairperson, you want to do this in April?
Yeah, if everyone hasn't read it, let's do it in April.
I'll make a motion,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table the proposal until the April meeting, and then we'll vote on it at the end of the meeting.
Second?
There was no motion, no?
You just said I make the motion.
I just made a motion.
I know, but we didn't need to table it because,
No, but Scott was asking for us to do something, so.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's not on here.
yeah, it just
not-
says the
I
board.
thought it was on there, sorry.
No, it says the board will
Discuss it.
discuss the draft, that's all. It
So we'll
doesn't-
just bring it
doesn't
up
have a
in-
motion.
So we will, Mary, can you just write it in that we're going to discuss it in April in the minutes, please? And I'll write it on mine to help Anna ask them.
Okay, under personnel, that's not what I'm going to ask you that. What's
We will discuss that in executive session.
that? Right, okay. Was there a motion made for the discussion of strategy and leadership?
It's at the end of the,
That's at the end.
yeah,
Okay.
it's at the end. So maybe we should go back to,
So we're going to,
Give
are you
the
ready?
presentation.
Bruce, you ready? Okay. We're going to go back to project 5.
Thanks for your patience. We're really excited tonight to be able to spotlight the Pride preschool program. I'm sure most of you are familiar, have heard about Pride, but it's an integrated special education preschool program that serves our youngest students who are 3 and 4 years old. The best people to tell you about this program are those that lead it, and that's going to be Pat Cardoza, who's a special education teacher in Pride, and Paula Huber, who's a speech pathologist who co-teaches with Pat. So we're excited to share this program with you because of the great success rate that we've had in supporting our students and preparing them for school. And we're also excited tonight because Paula Huebner is our North Branford Teacher of the Year. So we get to showcase her as well. Back, Paula. Here we are.
We have 3 staff members, Bonnie, Lisa, and Terry. Even though they're paraprofessionals, I call them our teachers because without them, we really couldn't function. They do a great job, and our students really do excel in our program. Pride is an integrated preschool program, and it's taught by Paula and myself. And the program provides occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech and language therapy to eligible students. Their paraprofessionals, a behavioralist, and a school psychologist are integrated members of our interdisciplinary preschool team. And we have additional consultants from outside agencies that are provided as appropriate. The program is located at Jerome Harrison, and we follow the guidelines from the Individuals with Disabilities and Education Act. It's a preschool child requiring special education, related services, is entitled to a free and appropriate public education on or after his 3rd birthday. It's a play-based, language-rich storybook curriculum. We foster growth in all areas of their development, including pre-academic skills, fine and gross motor skills, speech and language development, self-help and social skills. We've been using the Foundations program for reading with our students at the preschool level. And I spoke to a parent the other day, and I said, you know, your child knows like all the uppercase letters and probably 19 lowercase and 17 sounds. And she said, I have to tell you that we don't really sit with them, we just read. and she said he had to learn everything from your program. That made us feel kind of good because he's not quite 4 yet, and he's already excelled in those areas. And we have students who are typicals as well. We work with them, and I have 2 students right now that I know that can read, and I've been sitting with them, and I'm sending books home, kindergarten books, so they can practice reading at home. So we don't necessarily help the special ed, but we work with our typicals as well to foster their continued education as well, so they can enter kindergarten.
All right, so our program is designed to meet the needs of students with special needs, and they have what we call IEPs, which are individual education programs. It's a play-based model, as Pat mentioned. So we have different areas in our classroom. We have centers like a typical preschool would have. And then we also incorporate what's called discrete trial instruction, which is when we do direct instruction with the students one-to-one. They learn in a natural environment with hands-on experiences with their peers. It's fun, it's semi-structured, and we facilitate as needed in their play and in the work that they're doing one-to-one. We do technology in our classroom. We use our smartboard, we use iPads, which we can show you in a few minutes. We use assistive technology to help children who have different needs. Some of them, many years ago, we had a student who was visually impaired. We had materials that the Board of Education Services for the Blind gave us. We also use what's called augmentative alternative communication. And we have a couple of iPads here that can show you one of the apps that I use with my students who are nonverbal. And here's what it looks like. On the left is the children at the smartboard. Proloquo to Go is the communication app that we use. That particular one is called an iPad mini, which was for a student who was very small in stature and he couldn't carry the bigger one. The girl on the right top is using something called picture exchange communication symbols. It's called PEX for short, where she exchanges a picture to make a request. We have an iPad center where we set a timer for 10 minutes and the children play with educational apps on the iPad, and then on the bottom there's the same little girl using the communication system.
Our typical peers or models are appropriate. When we pick them, they're chosen for appropriate social, language, and play skills. They must pass a preschool screening, and we usually conduct this in January, and we assess their cognitive, speech, language, motor, and social skills. And in February, they're chosen through a lottery. It's free for those students who are chosen, and the parents provide transportation for their child as well.
So the referral process comes from a number of different places. Birth to 3 is an agency that works with children from birth to 3. We get them from pediatricians, nursery schools, daycares, and parents. The intake, they call me when anyone in town has a concern about their child. And then I go through kind of what their concerns are, kind of weigh out what we need to do next. And then after we have the interview on the phone, there's some paperwork that they fill out, which gives me basic background information about the student. And then they come in for a preschool screening. So Pat and I do the screening together, and at that time we figure out, do we need to go further and have more intensive an evaluation done, or if they're okay, we might just offer some suggestions to help them with some things they can do at home. If they do require an evaluation, they would have a planning and placement team meeting, which is called the PPT. And then we go through the procedures following that. There is van transportation for students with special needs, and extended school year is available for students who are recommended for extra help in the summer. So we have a continuum of services ranging from, I do outpatient speech, which is speech therapy for predominantly children who just have speech issues only. They may come once or twice a week. Typically they're brought by a parent, or someone might bring them once or twice a week. And then we have children who attend our preschool program 2 days a week. We have children who attend 4 days a week, and at times we've also had children who have had an extended day. Our program meets 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and those are the times that our 2 sessions meet.
This is our circle. During our circle, we always have a child who's a helper. Their name is on the board, and believe it or not, our 3-year-olds learn to recognize somebody's name, so that's very exciting for us. We talk about the weather, we do counting, we incorporate stories, and we try to use pictures to go on our flannel board so they all can be interacting with the story besides just sitting. They just get up and put a picture on the board when it's their turn. And each month we have a theme. We send home newsletters to our parents along with a calendar so they can refer to it. We have a communication book. and everything is placed in that so they can refer as to what they need to wear. Like today, they had to wear green. At the end of the month, we have to wear blue because that's our color of the month. So we keep everybody involved. And we have learning centers that children get to play and experiment with water and shaving cream with their peers. And they form a lot of relationships. And we have a child now who have difficulty speaking, and one of our typicals is actually bringing him into the play group. She's teaching him how to talk and play, and it's just amazing. That's in our afternoon. That's a 4-year-old helping a 3-year-old.
Wow.
And the children go to art, music, and our art teacher, our morning class does not go to art because they're 3-year-olds and they need more than one during art activity, because with scissors and playing with paint, they can just cover themselves or just cut somebody's hair. You just never know what's going to happen. So, people say, why don't your children go? I said, they're 3 years old. It's all one-on-one, actually. But our art teacher for the afternoon class, she asked what our theme is for the month, and she'll incorporate her art activities to correlate with what our theme is going on for the month. The color, talk about animals, making pictures, and so forth. So we all integrate together, try to work. And you can see the children, we're going to music, and we have gym. Well, both classes go to gym. And they're doing exercises in the middle. Mr. Ramsey does a great job with them doing their exercises before their warm-up exercises before they begin their day. And we have snack. That's probably the biggest social time of our whole day, eating together. The parents and ourselves all sit and join with them.
And then these are some letters from parents who have been part of our program. Suzanne will share with you.
And these folks don't like to toot their own horns, so I'll do it for them. We've had some parents so many of our parents are very appreciative of the work that Pride does for their children and the communication that they have with them over the course of their time. There's lots of tears when kids leave Pride, either they move on to kindergarten or they're exited from special education because they no longer require it. So you have copies of these letters at your place, along with the calendar and the newsletter for you to take a look at your own leisure. But I wanted to just point out some of the things that parents have said. They talk about the extreme professionalism and attention to detail that staff provide. One parent said, Jack's growth has been exponential. His speech has soared. The academic curriculum has enriched Jack vastly. We've been amazed at the social growth. The social growth has been so important, and having our role model students really contributes to the social growth of our students, as well as the language development within the program. Communication between the adults has been superior. I see that at planning and placement team meetings as Pat and Paula communicate with parents about just having a disability. For some parents of children who are 3 years old, it's very worrisome to parents to think that their child has a disability. And Pat and Paula do a wonderful job of explaining that we're talking about what the students' strengths and weaknesses are, and we have a definite plan to try to address those and really ease their mind. They speak with them, they email them, no question, it really takes any more than 24 hours to get back to folks, and parents are really appreciative of that. This parent says not only has the program completely supported all of Jack's academic and social emotional needs, it's helped us as parents. Although we're both educators, we're not pre-K experts. However, we know we can rely on the experts in Pride to guide us to help in any way that we can. We trust each day that Jack is in school, that he's being cared for in every way, and for that we're grateful. Another parent wrote about, said that the dedication and love that the staff have for my children is beyond what any parent could hope for. The student was sad on days there was no school and always wanted to know when she could get back and learn. The program exceeded the parents' expectations. It was great to see that every child, whether a role model or one with special needs, was getting individual attention. And they say the process, as I said, was a bit overwhelming, but both Mrs. Cardoza and Mrs. Huebner assured me I would be kept in the loop, and they certainly stood by those words, and this parent believes that her son is getting the absolute best attention to his delays and to what he needs. And at the end, my son can now speak full sentences and strangers understand what he's saying to them. He's gained confidence with commuting and has kept up with age-appropriate materials. The communication piece is so important, which is why having Paula co-teach with Pat has been so beneficial to the program. When they take a few minutes and share with you some of the communication devices that they use, you'll recognize that when we don't often think about the importance of communication, that students, even when they're so young, can become very frustrated if they can't tell someone that they're hungry or that they don't feel well. And so finding ways for students who either have poor articulation and can't be understood that way, or who have no language at all, how much the staff work to be able to provide an opportunity for them to communicate in any way they can. It reduces students' frustration, and it really allows them to gain confidence in being able to learn and to be able to have their needs be met. The Pride team provides a safe and loving space for every child to grow and learn. I'm thankful to live in a town that provides such a great service to young children. Without a doubt, my family is part of something special. And I think that really sums it up for me. My favorite part of the month is when I get to chair the Pride PPTs because parents are so appreciative, the staff are very professional, and it's nice to be able to welcome parents in North Branford to special education into our school district for the first time in a very positive way. So at this point, Pat and Paul are going to share with you a few of the things that they work on with students, and we appreciate having the opportunity to share our program with you.
So the two iPads have an app that is for children who have difficulty. It's actually for anyone. An adult could use it if you have a stroke. And it's got apps on it, little icons, and they just touch it. I want. And then whatever it is that they want. And then it has comments. It's got background information about people, like my name is, my address is. And so we model it for the children who don't know how to use it yet because they're 3 or 4. And we're currently using this with a student right now. And so we're giving her the motor pattern of where all the little icons are. And she's learning, this one means go. And when she wants to leave, she comes over and she hits go. And so it gives her a voice because she literally has no speech sounds other than screaming. So she can recognize these symbols now, a lot of them. We've only started maybe using this about a month ago. But she's already, if she goes into her toys folder, she can point to her favorite little cupcake, and then we acknowledge, oh, you want the cupcake, and we give her the cupcake. So she's starting to understand what, some of these are pictures, so the beauty of this app is that you can actually take a photo right when you need it. So if I want to get the picture of this water bottle, oh, she wants water, I don't have a picture of it, I literally take a picture of it and it pops right in there. So it's amazing. The way that we used to do communication was through this. This is the PEX book that I told you about. And it's got pictures, and what you teach the children, say she likes this particular toy, you would put the toy on the top, the book would be in proximity, she'd give it to me, and I'd say, oh, you want this toy, and then we give her the toy, which was great before we had this kind of technology. And then you would teach them eventually to go get their book, to walk to their communication partner. Eventually you would put several pictures on the top, and they'd learn to discriminate which one they wanted, and then eventually they would flip through the book and say, I want this, that, or the other thing, and eventually they'd be able to comment like, this is fun. But it's very, very cumbersome because you couldn't keep all the pictures up to date. You could never have all the pictures that you needed in here. So this was a lifesaver, and there are many of these different kinds of apps, but this is just kind of what
And before they can even use an iPad, we have to teach them how to point.
Yeah, so they have to be able to isolate a finger of some sort.
That's true, I didn't think about that.
Thanks to Bruce, he puts all these on.
What do they do at home?
Eventually, we do have a child now that is going to take it home.
Each one of these little folders has.
It's only at home, or is that
No, this
something
is
that?
iPad, it's only used for education.
So what do they do at home?
These will all fill up when
The
she
parents can learn to use their
This
child, they
is
do the same thing, point to something that they want to eat. Like that.
I want chicks, clean up Trixie, clean up eat all of them.
And then it comes up here.
There's no games on here.
Right.
There's definitely
Yeah.
for communication.
So you go back to your homepage, and this is the basic information.
The child who's really, really small, and basically we're using that one right now with our students.
And we've used this with a number of students, because many of them come to us nonverbal.
Right.
But they have to, in order to do this, they need to be able to isolate a finger. It doesn't matter which one, as long as they can point, and they need to recognize symbols. Some kids can't do that. But we are very fortunate to be able to have this kind of equipment in town. It's incredible.
Believe it or not, they can use this for communicating. Eventually do that.
I want chicks, clean up Trixie, clean up eat all of them.
Can you download this?
I want chicks, clean up Trixie, clean up eat all of them.
It's only a special program. Not an iPad, that's it. It's very expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, we have it on all this.
So
And the parents will have to sign for it to take it home.
So if they always need to communicate, is there something they can get on their own, like their own insurance? The insurance doesn't cover it?
No,
Okay.
that's just a special program. That's
So
why we
like, how
send them
does this
home.
work? Like if they want, like it's saying everything, how is it?
I want chips, clean up Tipsy, clean up, eat all done.
It's like, now figure it
Like,
out.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
they do. They do, just because we're putting too many pictures.
yeah.
So how many kids did you say were in class?
She doesn't
Okay,
want
so
to.
you-
It varies from year to year
Right now, she's
and
using
from month
crackers.
to month.
Cheese crackers.
When children
And these are things we know that they like to eat.
their ages,
Cheese
Got ya.
crackers.
and then they go through the procedures of eligibility in order to
And if they're
like,
really
holy
gonna bad,
we may have.
Oh, they do, no, yeah, or they'll just.
So is it 15 your max? Is there, like you don't have a max number, you can just keep accepting as it meets?
Yes.
Okay.
Cheese crackers, I want cheese crackers.
They don't have it, right, okay. You can change the schedule around, right. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Right.
It's cute.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a fantastic job.
One year and change her mind, I'm like, no, can't they send it, can they have Benadryl? No, it's too expensive. No, that's not the answer I wanted. Can't they get Benadryl? No, it's too expensive. No.
Are there any questions for Pat or Paul?
No, that's amazing. That is amazing. I've had daycare children in the Pride program, it's fantastic.
I don't have a question, I just have kudos to them because I was personally kind of involved with the mentor and how, even as a mentor, how much he got out of it. So I know how good the program is and good job.
Ladies, thank you. I obviously have had the privilege of going into the classroom with Pat and Paul and seeing, I don't probably scare them when I come in, but the size differential, but it's truly something to see when the parents who, as you can imagine, are faced with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of care for children that have an assortment of disabilities and challenges, and to have the comfort of coming in and leaving them at 3 years of age with us. It says, it speaks volumes to what they've done to create this, and it starts birth and ends at 21, doesn't end at 3 to 5, because those programs continue through every building with our life skills, all the way through their elementary, their high school years, and then concludes with the 18 to 21-year-old program. So I can say without question that the job that our team does in birth through 21 with students with special needs is second to none. And I want to personally thank you for doing what you do, and kudos to the comments from parents who trust you with their most prized possession that they have. So
It's very difficult for many parents. They're very young children.
Yep.
And,
Yep. You become a big part of their family. Thank you, ladies.
Committee reports?
Okay, that concludes my part, so now it's up for committee.
Yep. There's no negotiations, so budget and operations.
Me?
Yeah, you.
So in the meeting, we reviewed the budget status for this year, and there's no particular problems. We did discuss some additional billing we received from Anthem as the end of the year. And we did not discuss health insurance, although it was on the agenda. And in terms of capital items, we talked about the canopy and using some of our open choice money to help defer the cost of that. We talked about the high school elevator, unit ventilators, the domestic water pump at Jerome Harrison, and the security cameras. And then we just touched on the town council budget calendar agendas.
curriculum?
We had a meeting tonight. We talked about the scores and where we're standing. What was it?
Accountability. Next generation
Accountability. And we seem to be doing really well overall. However, the two things that are holding back our accountability is gym, physical fitness, and attendance, if I'm correct.
Chronic absenteeism is risen, as well as we continue to have a barrier for physical fitness and pass rate and participation rates, something we're investigating. And
Is it at all grade levels or just the high school?
It is middle school, high school. TDS is also below what we would want to, but has shown improvement. There have been changes. Last year, you could only include 10th graders. We don't make every 10th grader. Now you can do 10th grader and 11th grader. So there are definitely things that we're investigating that will support it. I was unaware of a patch article that Carolyn drew my attention to. So as the public would, they have strong reactions to it, and once people are educated and start to understand what really goes into accountability, I think they have a better understanding of it. And to see some of the things the state considers, we're talking about next generation accountability, it really does help make people understand why the scores tend to be the way they are and what can affect them.
So we're also looking at other data points that weren't accurate with the high school, with how they were reported, especially for a number of kids that moved into the district, and the transferring of credits and of coursework taken. So it's not exact, I think, for the physical education at the high school level, especially, might be a little motivational. So if there was a carrot, and I don't want to use food, but pizza at the end of it, maybe we could counter that motivation piece to get them to work harder. Although feeding them pizza.
I was going to say, that probably totally defeats the purpose.
Thing to do, but for the number of kids who participate in sports, I find it interesting that our kids don't score higher on the sit-reach or the sit-ups.
Yeah, it was like,
They don't do the right amount of sit-up? Like, it's that test?
It's a physical fitness test, that's
Yeah.
what the scores are based from.
And it's like-
Participation in the test, and then the pass rate of all 4 areas.
it's like considerably down. It's substantially down. Like out of everything you're looking at, there's like, maybe a two decrease here, 3 increase here, like.
Well, do they want us to
peanuts
educate
teed
them,
up.
or do they want us to?
And then all of a sudden you get to the physical fitness and it's like, it's
Well,
like 20.
mind, body, spirit.
They're pretty rounded, I guess.
Wow. So everything was like.
We're making a plan, putting it into action.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just be aware, everyone.
And so maybe it's got to be the cauliflower crust pizza.
Right, there you go.
Not for this guy. Someone else.
So, when we were in high school or when I go to the gym, a lot of it was physical activities or sports or whatnot. Now it's more like, how do you play volleyball? It's more, there's tests in phys ed versus just participating,
Right.
Yes.
correct? I mean, so you
Right, but this is just on
a
the
physical fitness.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
my
yeah.
PE class when I was in high school, we ran for the 50 minutes, like you were
No,
constantly
there's
doing
written
stuff.
assessments.
Now there's written assessments,
Yeah.
so, that takes away from those assessment tests too, so,
I think it's a lot motivational, personally.
probably.
I think they're.
Yeah, I don't know, it's
All right.
class. You have the gamers and you have the athletes. Just saying.
They're all the same, they're athletes of the game. I mean, there's no dichotomy between a lot of them, or
What else you got?
heavy
That's
gamers.
it.
Preschool, we talked about preschool.
We did talk about preschool too, and they did a great job. They did a great job talking about their program, and there are 15 openings, and they have 26.
After 1 week,
after-
so last Thursday was our open night for preschools, both the Pride programs represented and ourselves, as well as FRC. We distribute applications that evening, and then they're also available online and through the central office. We've already received 26 applications in 1 week for our programs, most of which have, there are 3 that are not age eligible for our program at Jerome, the Smart Start classroom that we have. There are 24 already in 1 week for 15 spots. I'm happy to announce that I believe that word is made it out to the general public about the program, and people are very interested in it. That helps us establish that need that should have more money become available. We maybe can open that second classroom. We have been invited by the state to reapply so that we can get another 3 years of funding for the teacher in our Smart Start program, which is important to us. We are beginning the NIAC accreditation process in that classroom. The self-study began this month. So next year, we'll actually go for the actual accreditation. I'm also pleased, and there are 7 different criteria measures for entering the program or that give priority enrollment. And one of them happens to be active military families. This is the first year that we've had applications from active military, so I am very happy that it's clear that people are becoming aware of the program and that it's servicing the students and the families that it should be servicing.
And didn't you say that, like the state gives a rating and you got 5 points?
So last year, we went through an Eckerd's program, an Eckerd's rating instead of the NIAC because we weren't ready for accreditation. And the state really said to us, and this is the law, that you have to go through the ratings process, but you don't have to pass. So they said, don't worry if you don't pass. Normal score for a new program is a 3 to 3.5. And I have to give our teacher, Lisa Flannery, some credit, as well as everyone at Jerome. We came with a 5.1. So they anticipate us not having an issue with the NIAC accreditation. It is a lot of paperwork. There's many things that we have to gather, but they believe the program itself will not have difficulty in the accreditation process.
That's great.
Good job, Marcy.
There was no pension meeting, so we'll move on to policy.
Oh, that would be me. Okay, I will try to speak fast. I don't guarantee. All right, we have following policies for second read and approval. The first one is policy 1120, student discipline, suspension, expulsion. So I'd like to make a motion to approve policy P1120, student discipline, suspension, and expulsion. Due process is submitted.
I second. Discussion.
I still have an issue with this policy. I still feel like my question is not being answered as to why the dangerous weapon for one child is 2.5 inches. And I know that we got stuff and we read it, and I just feel like it's kind of saying the same thing over and over again. So because of that, I don't know if anybody has like a good explanation without just repeating what it already says. It's on page 25 of 28 in A and page 3 of 28 under O. And I've asked this, and we've gotten an explanation, but to me it wasn't really an explanation. I got a email with a picture attached, but again, it didn't really explain why one says 1 1/2 inches in length and one says 2.5 inches in length. So, if anybody has an answer to that, that would be fabulous.
Do we want to make it uniform, or can we?
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's where I'm kind of going. Like, I have issues with how this is worded, so if we can't change it, then we can't change it. But
What was the second one?
which one? It's the weapon.
25 of 28, but what was the second?
I'm gonna
The
ask
3 of 28, I'm sorry, I'm backwards. So one was for the
So
special.
if I could turn it over to Suzanne Wright, who I think will clarify it.
I think that the specific area that you're speaking about is the removal of special education students for certain offenses. And there's a specific reason why that part is included in this policy. Whenever a student with a disability is subject to discipline, they might be out of school for more than 10 days, the planning and placement team has to meet and determine whether that behavior was a manifestation.
Well, no, and I get that. My question is, if you look under, so it says dangerous weapon for the removal of a special education student, C, and this is just, I mean, this could be nitpicking, I don't know, but I personally have an issue with it. This is my 3rd time bringing it up. Dangerous weapon means weapon, device, instrument, material or substance, animate or inanimate,
that is used for or is readily capable of causing death or serious bodily injury, except that such term does not include a pocket knife with a blade of less than 2.5 inches in length. Now, if you go to page 3 of 28, this is for a child who is an IDEA, and it says BB gun, blackjack, any metal brass knuckles, any police baton or nightstick, any dirk knife or switch knife, any knife having an automatic spring release device by which a blade is released from a handle, having a blade of 1.5 inches in length. So that one says 1.5 inches in length, and this one says 2.5 inches in length. And I've been asking this is my third time asking why. I understand the IDA, I understand PPTs, I understand certain kids are gonna act, but I don't understand why this length is 2.5 in length and this one is 1.5.
And I think that the reason that they're delineating is because we wouldn't, even though a student with a disability, their disability may be manifested in this way. If a student if the behavior is a manifestation of their disability, the school cannot then suspend or expel the student for that behavior. However, because of the use of a deadly weapon of this particular length would be considered much more dangerous, and they would want the district to be able to, under those very specific circumstances, to remove the student, regardless of whether the behavior was a manifestation of their disability. And so you can remove the student for 45 days to an alternate interim educational placement. And so that's my understanding of why there is a difference, because they want to say that in certain dangerous weapons, they pose an even greater danger.
So the special ed kid can have a 2.5 inches in length where a...
Less than.
Less than a blade of, and then this is over.
They still would be
Okay.
subject to the regular piece for the 1.5 inch, but because this would be considered more egregious, that you could, regardless of whether it was related to their disability, you
Gotcha,
could
that
remove
makes
that
total
student.
sense.
And so that's, as I understand it, what the distinction is,
That makes
and why
sense.
it allows school districts under these, there's very specific ones, even this serious bodily injury, that's very specific. It's more than injuring another person or getting into a fight, but it's serious bodily injury that, again, even if it was related to the student's disability, that student could be removed for up to 45 days in order to address that specific concern.
Okay.
Makes sense
The
now?
picture was sent to you so that you clearly understand when I said that we put a ruler next to it to measure it. That's what we do.
Right, no, and I get, but I
And then
just
the
didn't
first part of
understand what
the-
the difference was
the-
between, like, why one child could have 1.5 or
Law.
over 1.5, and then another child with less than
No, it makes-
2.5. So now it makes
You did a
sense.
good job explaining
That was a good
it, Suzanne,
Yeah,
thank you.
It's law, and the first part of the expulsion process identifies if they're a 504, if they're a special education.
Right,
And then
right,
there's a whole
station.
series of things. And that office, every time the student goes through this process, special ed gets the first read, all the documentation to make sure that we're adhering to that. And that includes photographs with the cutting edge of that knife, so that everything adheres to this.
Yeah, sure, thank you. I appreciate it.
Motion's made in the second already, so we just have to vote.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Papaholzer?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nafrio?
Yes.
Secretary Sienna?
Yes.
Janet Balsamo?
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora?
Yes.
Vincent Mace?
Yes.
Cynthia Rice?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve policy P1245, health assessments as submitted.
Second?
Discussion?
I have discussion with this one too. I really do not like this oral health part in it. If this is, I mean, is this something that we are really considering doing with our children and having them, having the school system looking into oral health and being responsible for that? I mean, if you look around at how many kids have braces in North Branford, I don't really know if this is a way that we need to go, should go. I mean, I don't know if we even approved looking into doing that. I would like a discussion and hearing what people need to say, but I really have an issue with the oral health and especially with how it has to be written.
Does it have to be in here?
I thought it didn't.
It doesn't have to
We
be.
removed the two sections that were related to the district doing the screening, which then eliminated all the parental opt-out and all of that stuff. So on page three used to be A, B, C, D, and E. And we removed C and D. So that now all you have left are that the district shall request in grades 6 and 10, at enrollment in grades 6 and 10. And it says, then B says who would do the assessment. But then it also says a student who fails to obtain oral health assessment requested by the board shall not be denied enrollment or continued attendance in the district. So it's really just a request of the parents.
Right, it doesn't say that we're doing it.
All right.
So we've eliminated the two sections.
That's
that I
not-
So
think-
you want a physical and you want to make sure their teeth are clean?
Well, they can,
No,
obviously
also-
much more than their teeth when they do an oral
Well-
exam, meaning open your mouth and then.
So is there gonna be a form, like there's the physical
Yeah.
health form that's gonna be handed out to these parents?
If they want to do it.
But we're not, this is, it's optional. But this is optional, we're not making them do it, and we're not doing it.
I understand that,
Only if
but-
you want to do it, so the kid, they don't just call the kid and say, hey. open
No,
your
I
mouth.
understand that, but if they opt to do it, is there a form?
Yes.
Like there's the form for the health exams?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so it's in 6th and 10th grade, and they have to be parent consent to do it through the form.
I just don't know what the sense is if it's optional. I mean, why have it in
Some
there if
parents
it's
may
optional?
not want their child to be,
Right, so if you can't make someone do it
No.
that
Why
needs
put it in
it,
the policy?
that or you think might need it, there's no sense in
Yeah.
having it.
well,
I don't-
it's,
But you can request it and
yeah, you
maybe.
request it done. I
But
think
they don't
we're-
have to do
They
it.
don't have to do
So
it.
it's kind of like, you can
I
press all
think
you
we're
want.
required by statute that we have to offer in those 2 grade levels.
We're required by statute that we
We're-
have
It's
to.
similar to the screening for scoliosis.
But we provide the screening for scoliosis, don't
No,
we?
we do.
Right, but we're
And
not
this-
providing the screening for oral health,
Unless
so
they
how?
want it. Unless they want it. So we send it
No,
out.
no, we're not doing it. No, there's 5 different people that could do it. A dentist, a dental hygienist, a legally qualified practitioner of medicine trained in conducting oral health assessments, a physician's assistant licensed under the state of Connecticut who's trained in oral health assessments, or an APRN who's trained in oral health assessments. So we don't have any of those, so we're not gonna do it anyways.
I just don't understand the purpose of it. It's saying nothing. It's saying, you know what, if you want to go for an oral exam, go. If you don't, don't. If you don't want to give it to us, don't give it to us. If you do, do. It just has no
I
purpose.
misunderstood it. I thought the parent opted in 6th and 10th grade.
No, we didn't.
No, that was changed. That's why I was like,
Yeah, so why is this even in here?
There's
then?
just
We've
no
gone back and
purpose
forth
to
with
it.
this
It's
3
not in
times. No, I'm just saying, but even this part,
I mean, the
it's still.
entire section.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
just.
yeah,
Well,
there's
Does it
no-
need to
I
be in there
didn't-
because of?
I didn't ask the attorney if we could remove the entire section. I only asked if we could remove the stuff that was related to assessments that would be conducted by the district, and then all the parental permission, opt-out,
Yeah.
those 2 paragraphs. I did not ask if you could just eliminate the entire section.
Well, this has been on here like 3 times already.
Right.
Since it doesn't really matter whether they do it or not, is there any harm in having it in there?
Yeah,
Well,
because it
it
has
says
no
that the
purpose.
board
Policy
may
is supposed
choose
to
to
drive.
request. We don't
Why
have
don't
to
we ask
request
the
it.
attorney if we have
For a
to?
3rd time.
Yeah,
And if we don't,
I think you should still hold off on it.
Okay, so
Okay, we got another.
I don't like,
remove your,
What's that?
I don't like 7. I don't like
Page 5 or 6.
7 non-emergency invasive physical exams and screening. It wasn't part of what we discussed this time, but it was in here, and I don't like that. Invasive physical examination or screening, and then it defines it.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Exposure of private parts, incision, insertion, injection into the body, not hearing and vision. I have issues with that, and I don't know when this was done before, but I have issues with that. I don't know if anyone else does.
has this been run by Dr. Nolfo?
It's up there, but
Did Dr. Norfolk, well, this isn't offered by him.
But has he reviewed it? I know he didn't author
This
it.
policy,
No, I think he did a long time ago. This
yeah, this has been in here. It wasn't one of the ones that we talked
Right.
about. But in reading over it, I mean, I bring it to the board because they have to make a decision, but I personally have an issue.
I have issue with it too.
The way it's.
Well, I mean, we can ask the question about that as well.
this is why you want to stick with your ability to to make your policy.
Yeah, to have an attorney
And
as
not having
opposed to.
handbooks. So let's take this whole thing down.
Well, I'd like
All
to
the
see what-
concerns that came up,
Is
and
that
do we need to have
policy?
this? What is the purpose of it? Can we eliminate it totally if we don't need to do it?
Could we run it by Dr. Nolfo?
Well, I let's let the attorney do it first.
Right,
Totally.
right, no, that's what I'm saying.
If you don't like Nolfo, we'll look at it.
So we're going to ask if we can eliminate the entire section on oral health.
Yes. And then the invasive, non-emergency invasive, it's,
Section 7.
And eliminate the entire section 7.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
don't like
just,
it either.
I don't understand what the purpose of any of that would be.
Lawsuit.
Exactly.
No, if you don't have an injury, it's a lawsuit.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah, we don't have it.
But the nurses can't, nobody can do this anyway.
That's
This is already in here, yeah, it's already been approved.
So, but I was rereading
That's the
it.
way I read it.
Vince is reading it as it protects the employee, it saves us from a lawsuit.
I think it would be causing a lawsuit.
But it's a good Samaritan law, protects the employee.
Well, the Good
Employee-
Samaritan law doesn't necessarily, I figured this out after, because you had your question about the Narcan. Now, your husband's covered under, because that's not his job description. A nurse isn't, because it is under their job
Correct,
description.
because it's coming from a
Right.
doctor's order, so the
So
nurses
if
can
this
do
is
it.
her job description, is it really covered under the Good Samaritan law, Ben? I guess
But they
that's
have
my
insurance
question.
too.
Right.
So the Good
So with
Samaritan.
this, I would still suggest asking
Yeah.
our lawyers about it.
I think you go to the
because
lawyer and you get it taken care of.
The
and
Good
then I-
Samaritan is, I think, overused for people in the medical field where it's not really.
That's not covered.
And then I think Dr. Nolfo, and at least our nursing supervisor should have some, should be able to read it over ourselves. Cindy's seen it, and she's okay with it?
We have to under I think it's.
So we're gonna move the health assessment to back. Okay.
Well, you need to, you made a motion,
All
withdraw,
right,
please.
so I take back my motion?
And I'll withdraw my second.
Withdraw my motion?
Okay.
All right, next one.
So do you have to table that though?
Table that.
Yeah, I'll make a
Yes.
motion to table it.
Second.
Yeah.
Until next meeting, right?
Yeah, till next meeting.
Okay, next one, motion to.
Wait, we motion in a second.
I did.
I know, but we need to all in favor or vote.
Oh, to table?
All in favor?
Aye. All right, excellent. A motion to approve policy P1260, administering medications to students as submitted.
Second.
Discussion?
So I had another question on this one. I'm just not happy with these policies. Under that one, I don't know where I saw it. Again, it said something with the Good Samaritan law, and I was questioning that because Vinny looked it up for me, and God bless him, it took him like 6 hours, I think, to find it, and the nurses are not covered under the Good Samaritan law. That was under the Narcan thing.
What page are you on?
I don't know, I'm trying to find it, I should have took a note on it. It was, what do they call it? It's not Narcan, they call it something else.
Naloxone.
Yeah, so if you guys.
15, page 15, I think is where it starts.
Thank you. And then under the red, I think was there like red under it? It said something of Good Samaritan, I read it. It was on 15.
Well, it starts off saying pursuant to a standing order of the board's medical advisor, which means a standing order from Dr. Nolfo. As long as he gives them a standing order,
Okay.
they can administer it.
Yeah. I
That's
don't
how it
know.
starts
I
off.
know, the red was in the notes from the attorney. That's
Oh, maybe that's what I looked at.
This one here.
Yeah, that's number one.
Yeah.
This one.
Where was it?
So good, this one.
I think it was down here. Yep, Narcan. Maybe it was in here. I read it. I knew I read it somewhere. I wasn't feeling well this week, I apologize. Narcan. Oh, there it was. So just, this is like in this thing?
The notes from the attorney?
Yeah.
in red?
If the nurse is not available, they instruct you to staff call 911, even in light of a Good Samaritan law protecting those administered Narcan in good faith. So that would not include the nurse, correct? Because when we talked to the nurse thought she was covered under the Good Samaritan law, which
The only people
she's not.
administering that are the nurse.
Okay.
That's it.
But she's
They're
covered
the only
under
ones.
the
trained.
So
she's
she was
covered
saying
under
that if
her
it was
job.
ordered by the doctor, then she's covered. The Good Samaritan law, it doesn't really matter at that point.
personnel or things.
Yeah, it says right under here that it's only the nurse.
Yeah.
That can,
Okay.
and it's because of the standing order.
I'm still not crazy about it.
And the other thing we did in this one was to delete the section relative to bus drivers. Because they're not our employees, so
Right.
we eliminated that altogether.
So shall we vote? Let's do a roll call, please.
Chairman Papa Holster?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nafrio?
Yes.
Secretary Sienna?
Yes.
Jana Balsamo?
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora?
No. It's gonna pass anyway.
Vincent Mace?
Yes.
Cynthia Rice?
Yes.
Okay, the last one. Make a motion to approve policy P1290, confidentiality and access to education records as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? No discussion?
I don't think so.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Chairman Papa Holster?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nafrio?
Yes.
Secretary Sienna?
Yes.
Jana Balsamo?
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora?
Yes.
Vincent Mace?
Yes.
Cynthia Rice?
Yes.
Your turn, Jana. Reese's?
Yeah, the meeting was this afternoon. It's just very brief. We started with a moment of silence for John Lenine. He is a board member of ACES, and he's from Meriden, and he passed away. He had an illness. Let's see. The ACES Foundation Gala is coming up this month. We went over the budgets for certain schools, transportation, assistive technology, curriculum. No, I'm sorry, not there. We went over some issues with transportation and technology. We went over the budgets for Whitney East and West, Whitney North, EIBI, Village Sales, and the technology. And they were approved. Listened to fiscal reports, human resources, and that's pretty much it. Sums it up.
Thank you.
Keep it brief.
There was no building committee, no communications committee, and no wellness committee. So let's move to the good of the board.
Schools are very busy. I read through these. They're really doing some great things. I didn't get to make it to Read Across America. I would like to go to Jerome Harrison for that. I didn't get to make it this year.
It was fantastic.
Oh, did you go read?
I did.
What book did you read?
I did. I read, it was a version of The Three Little Pigs.
The three iguanas.
Thank you.
No, Javelinas.
Javelinas. It was the Javelinas.
Why did you correct me?
Because they were hairy pigs.
I knew it was
They were hairy
something.
pigs.
It was the three javelinas,
The
not the
javelinas.
three iguanas. Iguanas.
One's a pig
They were
and one
cute
is not.
pigs. Right.
When I read,
I got the same one.
I went and got this book and I practiced it really over and over and over with intensity for the kids. And I'm waiting my turn to read, and the person before me read the book, and I'm like,
Want.
and one of the teachers came over, here, read this one. I'm like, oh, I didn't practice it. It's a lot of fun. And then, I don't know if she's still here, Rosie. Yeah. She was telling us, she came rushing into our budget meeting. She told us about something fun going on at Totucket Valley tonight. She came rushing in a little bit. Yeah, could you just tell them a little bit about what happened?
So tonight, there was a pasta dinner at Totucket Valley, and it was sponsored by the fifth grade students. The fifth grade students, the PTO put it together, but it was run by the fifth graders. So they were the servers, they were the host and hostesses, they ran the raffle. My daughter did the cooking for them. The cafeteria was all decorated in the Italian theme. There was, background music playing, and they actually had to fill out a job application online, submitted, and they needed references. They were chosen, that they had a number of students apply, not all of them got chosen. They were very excited last Friday when they got their application, their formal acceptance, and they had to accept the job with all of the requirements. They all took it very seriously. We actually were on the verge of canceling it because we didn't have enough people that bought tickets. And it was a sold-out event tonight, and there was about 180 families, parents, and it was open to the whole school. It wasn't just for 5th grade parents, it was open to the whole school to come. And it was just a wonderful event. The parents had a lot of good things to say about the event. The kids went above and beyond, and all of the proceeds from tonight's event are going to their end of the year activities. Which includes a yearbook, their end of the year picnic, their field trip, their t-shirt. So the PTO puts it all together, they come up with a cost, and it's just one cost to the parents, and a lot of these proceeds supplement that. So it becomes very, very affordable for families to do this. And it was just an absolutely wonderful, they started it last year and they went above and beyond this year, and it was a wonderful event there tonight. So it was great.
And the capacity is 185, and we had 184.
184.
What about that raffle? Oh, great job, great night.
Move on to visitors and press. No?
Okay, then I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive session as per section 1-225 of the Connecticut General Statutes as permitted by section 1-206B of the Connecticut General Statutes to discuss agenda items 8J personnel.
Cindy did.
That was only a second, we need a roll call or something.
Oh, gosh. Can we hit all in favor?
Aye.
We have to go. Aye.
We all said aye.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not. Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Were you ready, Mayor? Me and Vince.
Thank you, everyone.
That was a pleasure.